Kalispera, good afternoon. My normal trade is lectures about things like institutional challenges for the European Union in the 21st century, or 200 years of friendship between Holland and Greece. But when I launched that on Niki and Katerina, they said, no, that's not what we want. What we want is something personal. Tell the audience how you got where you are and what you're doing. So I will try that. But since it's not my normal trade, I will probably now overdo the personal thing. Bear with me. I want to talk about luck. And luck, in my language, has two different meanings. It is both luck and it's happiness. The word geluk is luck, it's happiness. How's that in Greek? You have tiki and ευτυχία. Those are different things, right? In my language, it's the same thing. I'm a happy man because I'm a lucky man. That's how I usually see it. I've been immensely lucky in my life. I've spent half of my life being a beach bum. Now I have the most interesting post in our diplomatic system, being the Dutch ambassador in your wonderful country. I have a bright and also beautiful wife, 3 great kids. What else? Everything actually that makes life interesting, to work with interesting people on an everyday basis, etc., etc., etc. I got it. Is this pure luck? I tend to believe often, yes, I had quite some luck, but I will share something with you. I'm convinced that it's also about creating your own luck. Don't wait until things come your way. Work on it. And I will illustrate that by mentioning a couple of things from, let's say, my career. And career step 1 was actually driven by greed. I'll tell you where I come from. I'm a suburban kid. I grew up in a suburb close to Eindhoven, PSV Eindhoven, you know the place. I was raised by my mother. My parents were divorced, very hip at the time, 70s. So I was in a single parent family. The only thing about my mother was that she wasn't very hip and modern in the sense that she thought that we had to work in order to obtain something. So when greed kicked in and I really got obsessed by having this, the thing in the middle, the Philips N2215, a cassette recorder with amazing features. It had 6 buttons. You could turn the volume up, down again. It had a counter for where you were with your tape, etc. I really wanted to have it, and I asked my mom, I really want to have this. How's this going to be? She said, well, find yourself a job. I was 12 at the time, but I did it. I did it, actually. That spring, I grabbed my bike and I went to pick strawberries in a village nearby. So 5:30 you get up, you go there, 6 o'clock you're in the field, you start picking your strawberries, and since you're a clumsy suburban kid, you, at the end of the day, have picked about 1 crate, and that earns you 15 euros. On the way back, you make a stop at the cafeteria, you spend 5 euros on your lunch, and you come home with 10 euros in today's money. So after 5 days, I made 50 euros. I was already almost halfway to buy that wonderful machine that I just showed you. So the next 2 weeks, I did something totally different. I went to peel tulip bulbs. Ever seen tulip bulbs? There's a lot of them in Holland, and for some reason you have to peel them in order to sell them afterwards, probably. And after 3 weeks of tulip bulb peeling, another 10 euros a day, I actually could buy the beast, this wonderful thing. I still remember it, and I still know how it felt to have it, and I think I even still have it somewhere, because I was so happy with it, and I learned from that you can actually turn your simple time into money, and that you could turn effort into success. So first career experience. The second one, it was of a different nature. At the age of 14, I really wanted to become a professional windsurfer. I was determined to do so. But since I had a working mom, there are no pictures of that. I spent all my life on a windsurfing board, but no pictures. And being a professional windsurfer was not an obvious thing for me. For instance, because I didn't have actually the build of a professional windsurfer. The great scientist Leonardo da Vinci drew the perfect windsurfer, something like that. I only have the hair. And at that age I was rather like this. Huh? Long body, tall head, short arms, short legs. But I worked very hard. I went on my bike to the lake every day, sometimes before school. I trained a lot, and eventually I was pretty good at it. And I decided to call the Royal Dutch Water Sports Association and announce that I was going to be a windsurfing instructor. They said, go away, you're 16 and you have to be at least 17. But I talked and talked and talked, and they let me into the course. Then I had to find an internship. And since you have to set your ambitions high, I wanted to do my internship at the windsurfing school of the world champions. Amazing family, they were 7 times world champions. I went there, by bike again, and I said, here I am. I want to be an intern in this school. What did they say? Go away, because you're far too young. But I said, well, probably by the time you can try it. I live next door, I will work very hard, you don't have to pay me. And they said, okay, we'll try it for a week. In the end, I stayed there for about 10 years. In the end, I became the manager of the windsurfing school, and I had a great time. What it taught me, actually, is that it's also, being lucky is also about adjusting your expectations. I never became a world champion. I wasn't the most radical kid in the North Sea as a windsurfer, but I was good at teaching. And I became a windsurfing teacher, and I felt pretty good about it. It earned me quite some money. It earned me some self-confidence. It earned me a loud voice. It earned me my current wife. So a lot of things, just by doing it. Don't be shy, go for it, try it, put effort into it, and people usually respond positively. I think it even earned me my current job, because at some moment I wrote a letter to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in The Hague, and when I was at the windsurfing school teaching, in my shorts the phone rang. I went inside because you didn't have mobile phones at the time. I picked up the phone and there was this lady from The Hague that said, are you Mr. Versteeg? We want to have a conversation with you about your letter. We think it's an interesting letter. She meant this dude didn't do anything else than windsurfing, but somehow they found that interesting. I went there, somehow I fooled them, and I got through the selection process, and I joined the diplomatic service. And I've never regretted it. It was always a real joy. I went to the most amazing places. I worked in Brussels, in Madrid, in The Hague, and at the age of 40, I was hired to be the European Affairs Advisor of the Prime Minister, and we went everywhere. I went to the White House, to where Mrs. Merkel lives, where the French president is, to Downing Street 10 in London. Amazing negotiations, talks, great experiences. Partly because of what I learned in these other experiences. But also, I sometimes had this feeling there are other things around. And I must say, I got very inspired when by my cousin, who at some point called to the Prime Minister's office when I worked there. And my secretary said, Jan, listen, I have a very weird kid on the other side of the line. He says he's your cousin, and he wants to talk to you. I said, I know who it is. It's Anner. He was an amazing kid. He was totally obsessed by becoming an entrepreneur already at a very young age. When I went to their family and I wanted to play football with him, he said, no, I want you to review my business plan. Amazing. And that was the more amazing because he didn't come from that background. This is where he grew up, in this castle. It's not Hogwarts. It's not their castle. It is an institute, a house for mentally retarded young adults, where his parents worked to basically be their family. His parents have a very conscious lifestyle. They take care of other people. They're theologists. They care about the environment. No business people at all. But this guy, Anna, he was determined to become a young businessman, and he was very good at it. So at that afternoon, when I had him on the phone, he said, "Hi Jan, this is Anna. You know, I'm working on my third company." He was 20 by then. "It's sustainable lighting. And I just have one question for you. What can the Prime Minister do for me?" I was flabbergasted. Yeah, this kid, 20 years old, called me, asked, "What can the Prime Minister do for me?" But when I thought about it, I thought this is an amazing attitude, that you, with your charm, with everything, he was not the brightest kid in school, but he had this charm, he used his network, he was really determined, he actually simply did it, and he was successful. People appreciated that. So we became even better friends, but unfortunately, after a while, when he was 22, he got seriously ill, and actually, in the end, he didn't make it. But before he passed away, he got back to consciousness for a week or so. And what was he doing? He was talking about his businesses. Amazing. He said, "Jan, you have to know about my next project. You got to meet Raphael. He's a great mentor. You have to talk with Ed, with whom I'm setting up this new business," and so on. Totally obsessed, but in a positive way, by doing that business. That was a great inspiration for all of us. So when he was no longer there, we thought this inspiration should continue. And that's why we set up, together with his friends, all in their early 20s, and the companies he worked for, an award for student entrepreneurs. And every year in February, we give away this award in the Dutch city of Groningen, and many, many students that also have a business participate and win that prize. And it even inspired me to do things in my current job, which could just as well have been a career-limiting move, because full of that inspiration, of that generation that does things that we never did, I thought, why not try this here in Greece, to set up an incubator, an inspiring place for young entrepreneurs, people in their 20s that have a good idea and want to make a success out of it. Not an obvious choice when you're an ambassador. Embassies are about cocktails, about concerts, about secret talks. That's the general perception. But why not try this? We had this empty floor in the embassy, luck. I knew a couple of people that wanted to be the sponsor of this, the Dutch companies and some Greek companies, pure luck. We knew people that wanted to be engaged and work on this, and actually we simply did it. And we started in September 2013 with 12 teams. Now in Orange Grove there's 60 teams, young people, about 100 people are involved, that are all working on their idea and are helping each other to make this work. And for me, it's a great experience, and I hope also for them. I think it really makes a difference in their life, and eventually it's the inspiration that I gathered from my cousin Anna. What do I want to say with this? Because I'll wrap up. What I want to say with this is, if you really want something, because in order to do this sort of stuff, you really have to want something, you have to be obsessed by something, do it, make it work. You can make your own luck. You can start doing something. Don't wait until things come your way. Don't think the circumstances are adverse. Don't think the others are at fault. Of course the others are at fault, but don't invest energy in that, because it's much easier to change yourself than to change the others. So put all your energy in making your own luck, doing your own thing. And I think that you are perfectly capable of doing that. I think you're the generation that is actually going to make Greece's future. Go for it. Thank you.
Thank you.